Hey YouTube, we're back with a you guessed it, another YouTube video. And so I wanted to talk about some things that I've seen online. And I see a lot of kids or maybe even grown-ups bashing their parents. And so I just want to touch on that. And so when I see, grown people or kids bashing their parents, I really see someone that's really hurt and they're really in a bad space, because I would like to think that your parent did what the best that they could do with the knowledge they were given. Now, some situations were just very outright, terrible. But this is to the people who I personally know, and maybe some others who really go and talk about their parents in such a horrible way. And it's like, if they knew another way to raise you, I'm sure that they would have tried to do something differently. And you have to give grace. You have to heal those wounds. You have to come into your heart and say, I forgive, who's ever treated me in a wrong way. Because what we have to realize is that we were born in a sinful world. We were not born in a world where everyone was doing good and doing right. So the damage your parent may have experienced as a child may have jumped to you, and so that's maybe how they raised you, because that's how they were raised. And so we began to see traditions in families of, how they treat their kids and things of that nature. And so, we really can't just jump on the parent about their raising styles, because, that's all they knew. And so I began to really ask people to heal from their damage, really heal from the things that have happened to them. And remember to say the Lord's Prayer, because the Lord did teach his disciples how to pray to the Father. And so in the prayer, it says, let me forgive people who trespass against me as you've forgiven me. And so as a Christian, we should not be holding grudges for people who have done us wrong, because it's not hurting them, because they don't know. And sometimes they might not even care. But it's hurting you because you're internalizing something that someone may have done, like unbeknownst. Like they may have done this and not thought about what they were doing. It could have been any reason or any situation where they wasn't cognizantly aware of someone else's feelings. And so when you begin to unpack that, you begin to realize that we're all on a learning experience, and we all learn differently because of different experience we had, different avenues in life we've took. And so you have to learn to give people grace just as God has given you grace. And so when I think about the youth, and when I think about just reaching out to a vulnerable population, I realize that when you're trying to reach someone whose mind is fixated on doing a certain thing, you have to always protect yourself first. You know what I mean? So you can't just blindly say, well, you know what, I'm going to spread the gospel. I'm going to tell people about Christ, because you don't want to bombard people with your thoughts. You don't want to bombard people with your opinions and what you think. So you just want to have a simple gesture if you come across someone, or if the Spirit leads you, and you can just say, praise the Lord, or, something in the context of, I'm a fellow Christian too. But you don't just fully want to rush somebody with, you should believe in Jesus Christ. You should live like this, because you don't want to come off too strong. And Jesus talked about, when someone doesn't want to hear your message, you just dust your feet off, and you leave. You know, you don't sit and argue with people about this Bible or about religion in general, because you can actually turn someone off from Christ by doing that. And so it's always important for us to exemplify Christ in the highest forms, so that our goodness won't be spoken evil of. And so I enjoy seeing more and more young people reach out for Christ. But I also want to warn them, because it was another young person. He was on the news, and he had reached out to his neighbor to, you know, spread the gospel, and he was shot. And so it hurt me, because I know he did that with good intentions, but it was not received that way. And so you always have to understand that everybody is not on your spiritual journey, nor do they like that you're on one, you know. And so when you begin to spread the news in the gospel, you have to do it in a way where people are receptive to it. And so I just challenge every young person to find a kinder way to speak about Christ, or speak about, you know, what's going on in their life, and just really challenge them to love one another, but not in a way that you get hurt. Okay, so when we speak about loving someone, it's not putting yourself in harm's way. It's actually just extending grace, or, you know, a kind word to someone. It's not actually putting yourself in a bad space, because you're saying, oh, I love you so much, I'll put myself in a bad space that you're in. And so you just always have to remember that your good works, you want them to exemplify God. You don't want you to do good and bad come back to you, and they say, see, that's why I don't deal with Jesus. That's why I don't talk about that, because, you know, so you don't want people to kind of make a mockery of what you're doing. So I just welcome you to think about what you're doing and how you present Christ. And so we're going to talk about my book again. So it is Beautiful World of Abstract. And so we're going to turn to page 9. And this is the page, this is the painting that I painted. And so this painting is called Spiritual Awakening. And so with the Spiritual Awakening, it's pretty much here to ground you, give you serenity. I still have this painting available. If you would like to buy it, you can reach out to me on my social media, Facebook or Instagram. My Instagram is T-Bird Paints, and so my Facebook is Art by Tiara Bird. Also, if this is blessing you, you can send me a donation on Cash App, which is the $ T-Bird 301. And so if it's not blessing you, you know, you don't have to. But if it did, you can send a donation, because I do need art supplies. I do need other money or things like that, so that I can start to give my program away for free, because I do need sponsors so that I can go to places and not charge the elderly and not charge the children to teach them my art technique. And so if you ever want to sponsor an event, just please reach out to me and let me know. And so with that, basically, if you purchase the book, it'll tell you exactly all about what this painting meant to me and what I saw in the painting. And it also gives you lines to write what you saw in the painting. So that is it for today. I will see you next time on The Christian Corner.